Hey all, so this is Market Grand Prix, still the pools round, and we have a Japanese match happening between cider01 and yurikamome. So we got some late night Dominion or early morning if you're in Japan.
Yeah, this is a late night by my standards, but I'm nonetheless up. Anyways, his first kingdom is somewhat uninspiring.
Yeah, not a very pretty kingdom. I mean, like DZ said, not colliding your terminals is definitely really good here.
I'm assuming by their opening that they're probably aiming for Windfall, I had to guess. The Devil Steward opening was a little surprising to me in a money game, just because usually trashing aggressively isn't super important.
Yeah.
Like maybe put one steward and hope to hit the estates, maybe. But otherwise, deprioritize trashing. The reason I would think they might be doing that anyway, and also the reason why they're buying Harbinger instead of Silvers, is to try to get to a thin enough deck that you could buy Windfall once or twice, and then maybe go from there. I don't know if that's worth it, but that's why I would assume that they're doing this, at least.
So Eureka will probably buy Windfall here.
Yeah. Cider does seem to beat them to the punch by about a turn and a half. So I'd expect Cider to be in the lead now.
They hit 8 exactly with the relic attack, which is the most relevant attack on the board. There are 2 other nominal attacks, but neither of them look like they're worth playing.
Nathan, it looks like you got here just after I was talking about that. I was somewhat surprised by that. I hypothesized that it was for Windfall.
It also shuts down the Young
Witch.
Witch.
It's worth it, but
you gotta make sure you're not getting hit by a Young Witch.
Yeah, I mean, it does block Young Witch for whatever that's worth. I was thinking something like a cargo ship, and then like a relic and a patrol, and then that's about it.
Oh, it's afternoon in Asia. Interesting. I'm terrible at time zones is what I've learned.
I'm gonna trust that DZ is correct, because I believe... Don't you live in that time zone?
I believe DZ said they live in China.
I think Japan is about 12 hours from where I am. Okay, well, according to Assemble Me, I'm wrong, so...
I know I'm exactly 12 hours from China, half the year.
Okay, yeah, so it's like 4 p.m. in Japan. Anyway, this game looks like a big old, simple money board.
Yeah, it's
pretty
What are your
thoughts on the opening? This Devil Steward opening seems to be agreed upon by both of the players.
I would just do Steward Silver. I don't see much value in, like... I mean, maybe you'd, like, try to trash really fast and get Windfall,
That's what both of them have done. So they both went with this lockstep double Steward into Windfall kind of idea.
Oh, how many times do you have to trash before you can get Windfall? And then you also have to not add other cards.
So thrice with no additional stop cards, right? Because you'd have 11 cards. No, 12 cards with stewards. 4 times? That's a lot. Because with 2 stewards,
no, because
12 cards, you have to get down to 5.
You trash 3 times, then you draw the last time.
That could work.
So, like, if you see Steward turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, and turn 6, you can Windfall turn 6.
Yep.
But, I mean, that's a pretty big ask.
Good draws that could work out.
Yeah.
When you say the day starts at 12, do you mean, like, the way the clock works? Or, like, just you wake up really late and start things at noon?
I mean, I live in New York and work on California time, so my day starts at 12, like my business day.
I see.
So
I have noticed that with the COVID pandemic, there's been, like, equalization of time zones where you've got to, like, if you're in the East Coast, you're doing things a lot later now to account for Californians who are like Skyping in,
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa, the Californians on really early schedules.
It works great if you're a night owl.
Yeah, unless you live in California.
Yeah, the poor Californians have to get up so early now.
Well, it's their fault.
It's already over. Wow.
Yeah, so that was a money game. There was the opportunity to buy Relic, which both of them did. Other than that, I don't really know what else to say.
Yeah.
I feel like I would have preferred just like Stewart Silver into like a more not windfall type of money plan. But
Okay, so
maybe the windfall is right.
anyway, we have an engine
I was
here.
thinking cargo ship, but with the same idea of not windfall.
Yeah, this is a much more exciting board.
Yeah, more to see here. We got everything you need to build: actions, draw, trashing, and buys.
And we have quite a strong attack.
With early priority.
Pop lamp, play torture a bunch, get clean with remake.
For some reason, I'm tempted to open like Scrap Mountain Village, but that's like such a greedy open.
It seems
The
madness. I
mountain
kind of
village
like
should
scrap.
pick up the scrap the second time.
Yeah, or the silver.
Scrap remake sounds pretty good.
I was looking at like scrap vassal.
Let's see, what are the options? Yeah, a supply makes remake nice because you tend to have 2 money left after remaking things.
Yeah.
I also find that's true of Secret Cave, where Secret Cave is benefited a bit by having a 2 cost, because after you discard from Secret Cave, you hit 2. That
I
being
really
said, I
like
think...
Secret Cave. I buy Secret Cave on like almost every single Secret Cave kingdom.
I feel like it's really good to have me activate. I was just about to say, I don't think it's good enough in the opening here, though, just compared to the trashes that you've got.
Yeah.
Maybe pick Secret Cave up and later shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
But my problem with the remake open is I kind of just want to try and play Torture a lot of times. And that sort of means I don't really get like all that thin. But then again, I mean, I guess the extra trashing is quite a bit nicer with the curses coming in.
Yeah, if the other player's getting thin, your 3 tortures get cleaned up by 1 remake and something else. You need 3 torturers
I would think
to
part of the impetus
outpace
to getting thin is just to get wishes, which can then become torturers.
remake scrap. And that's the opening. It trashes a ton. Oh, interesting. So cider has a
I'm
5-2.
pretty down for apprentice supplies. Sign me up for that open.
Yeah, that looks quite good.
Apprentice supplies. It's that or torture supplies.
Torture supplies also looks quite good. Yeah, I guess the benefit of Torturer over the Apprentice is, like, if you see the Torturer turn 3, you trigger a shuffle. The Apprentice still doesn't.
Even remake supplies would be fine, to be honest.
Why is this such a good card?
Scrap.
Supplies is great, as is scrap. Just like the pleasant menagerie cards.
Horses are just really pleasant to play with. And cards that give you horses for doing things you already wanted to do.
They're in your deck.
In the late game, I could totally see supplies feeding remake. Like, you gain horses and then remake them into 4s and then later duchies.
Also, apprentice a horse for some reason. I don't know why.
I think that's equivalent draw to just...
That's what I was trying to figure out. I mean, you get 1 extra draw, but you're down a card, so it's not very good.
I feel like you probably aren't getting Apprentice if you're not opening it here. Maybe that's not true. I don't know. Just the other 5s are pretty juicy.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. There's not a whole lot of, like, gain high value stuff that would make you want to purchase or draw or anything.
Yeah, remake seems on the whole just a better way to trash your cards.
What does that
I don't
mean?
really know what that means. Yeah.
It just kind of sounds like one of those George Washington Axe type scenarios. Like, when Sana was just a totally different card. If Avatar didn't exist, and it was just Secret Cave, in what sense was it Sana at that point?
Or
It sounds like somebody, like, imagine that we made a bot that just made up DZ quotes.
like Deep Weapon Bot.
Yeah, DZ ebooks.
DZ Bot.
Yeah, that sounds like the kind of thing DZ bot would just spit out.
Like, did that just mean that the card that had Secret Cave's effect had the name Sana? Looks like poor yurikamome is having trouble activating
Yep.
that magic lamp.
Cider pops.
The
Doesn't-
first Secret Cave is an excellent card. The second Secret Cave feels like it kind of defeats the purpose of the first Secret Cave, which is a popular lamp.
I think I'm inclined to agree with that. They also did not take a silver off of their scrap at any point, which seems weird to me. They drew. I guess they didn't want second supplies on turn 4, maybe with the motivated. No, I don't. I feel like their turn 4 scrap play that I'm looking at right now doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So you scrap an estate for a horse and a card. Maybe they're trying to get 4 or something for Mountain Village. I feel like I would have taken a horse and a silver pretty much automatically there.
Say gains a horse.
DZ, I'm
I
still
mean,
thinking
I
about
like
this.
draw
Can you
and
explain?
gain horse. I feel like I do that quite often with scrap. I don't know about right there, but
Yeah, I mean, in general, I would say draw and gain horse are, like, in the abstract, the best two things, because draw is so good. But I would think with Magic Lamp around, you want to be adding more unique cards to your deck. But at the very least, take the silver over the horse.
do they have, how many villages does your economy have? Because they just added 1 last turn.
The Mountain Village split is 2-1. The Festival split is 0-0. I can make up some secret histories for you, DZ.
Yeah, let's get fake secret histories.
Suitable fake DZ fact. Did you know that actually, when Torture was first printed, it made you either discard 2 cards to gain a curse?
You like wishing for 2 festivals in the chat? I think I like wishing for a remake and a festival more. I want to get thin and counter incoming curses.
Yeah, I was thinking about the wishing for torture too. Because the festival also seemed good. Because then you could buy something like Festival Torture. Would have been 14 coins, right? Festival Torture Mountain Village.
In any case, Yurikame is just looking for a lot to me. I guess it's not quite over yet. Cider could dud.
Seems to me like your Kamame just kind of like really over-terminaled in those first few turns.
Yeah, I mean, it's very unfortunate they didn't hit the lamp, and things kind of spiraled from there.
The turn 4 decisions I thought were the most questionable ones. The choice from scrap as well as the vassal buy.
Yeah, I mean, especially without like not very high active density and no villages in the deck, like the vassal actually just kind of looks pretty unfavorable to a silver.
Yeah. My guess is maybe they were hoping to draw a copper and buy Mountain Village, and then when that fell through, they didn't really think about their backup plan enough.
Right. I mean, Cider also opened what? Apprentice Supplies?
Yeah.
That's a pretty nice opening.
If anything, I think I liked 3/4 opening better. But it has not panned out.
Maybe I wonder on turn 4 if your Komi should have just taken like coin forest or coin silver and then picked up that mountain village. I feel like their whole like the rest of this game would have gone a lot smoother for them.
So DZ, what happened if you had 7 of the heirloom cards in the same kingdom? In that world, you get a free silver on top of the additional cards.
He also sort of declined to pop Ampere.
I wonder.
I mean, maybe the mountain village draws you another unique, but it doesn't seem like a risk worth taking. So I suppose like whether or not you do that probably doesn't actually change your chance of.
I'm getting the impression from chat that maybe they didn't realize.
I'm translating what they said. Ah.
Mountain village really dropped from discard. Oh no. Yeah. Oh.
I feel like that doesn't sound very correct. Assemble me.
I mean, I threw it in Google Translate and it said, ah. So I assume Crabcat's statement, ah, I see, was also like roughly equivalent.
Yeah, that's my take. That was like oh shit, I just realized what I've done.
Alright, so we got 2 games done already. We're blowing through this set.
8 demons, yeah.
Oh, we have Cultist. And Catapult.
Is turtling a cultist good? I feel like that might actually be a good thing to do. So, like, you turtle the last cultist in the chain to set off the
next turn.
Not terminal draw.
Next turn, and then you can still play one more action card.
Yeah, Cultist is a village.
Yeah. It comes with the downside of you're playing one less cultist per draw each turn. There's always one set aside.
You can
But it could have
also...
reliability.
Quite a funny build. It's also, the build works like pretty well with cemetery trashing.
Yeah. There's also lots of dog shenanigans here. Like gaining cards during your buy phase. Well, just buying cards, I should say. And
Yes,
reacting as
that's
turtle
true.
for
Turtle
draw.
and the dog makes it look a lot better.
And also, like, Sheepdog versus Cultist, it's just, like, quite a lot of draw. I haven't played a Cultist Kingdom in so long, I actually don't know how to play with Cultist.
I had to play
like a lot of things
like twice in the pluralism tournament because it kept coming up. And I don't know why I didn't ban, but I didn't.
Yeah, wasn't that the tournament where you could ban stuff?
It very much was. I deliberately remember going to that tournament and just like banning all the good cards and making the kingdoms as miserable as possible. I don't know what. Oh, I remember PPP banned Crypt, and so I was out for revenge. And I banned all the good stuff. We had to play like cultist stuff.
I don't.
Well, did you win at least?
Yes. So Crabcat's rooting for a tie. Actually, wait, who won the last game?
Speed.
Yeah. The opening here is pretty interesting. I'm thinking about going with something like maybe Resign and Ban Cultist. Sounds like a really good opening to me, actually.
Even on the 5-2?
5-2, you could do like Mint, Resign, I guess.
That's rare.
No, I guess 5-2, you just open Cultist and accept your free win.
Yeah, is Vagrant better than nothing?
Vagrant Bros ruins, right?
It does.
I don't know. I think Vagrant's probably not better than nothing in the opening, but long term they seem kind of good.
What about Ruined Market? Do we care about uncovering that? Is that a problem?
Huh.
I'm suddenly thinking about Ruined Market a lot.
It's actually like kind of an interesting kingdom. I don't think I've ever said that about a cultist board that didn't have lurker on it, but
Like, among the bad cards, Cultist at least sometimes provokes interesting kingdoms. It's not one of the ones that I hate 100% of the time. I just hate it like 80% of the time, enough to forego the 20% of nice kingdoms.
I really dislike Cultist. Like, the two cards that I immediately put on my ban list when ban lists were a thing were Swindler and Cultist. Like, all the other stuff on my ban list, like, I wouldn't hate playing with. I'm just not a fan. Those two I really think are just exceptionally stupid.
Swindler does have the benefit of 6-player Swindler games, which is peak 6-player Dominion. So
I mean,
got that going for it.
6-player Swindler Cultist sounds actually like a fun build.
Oh yeah. Well, you just would never give anyone cultists. I guess you would buy cultists.
Only 40%. When you put it that way. What a wonderful card.
Well, I haven't played nearly enough. I do feel like there's a lot of things in, especially Menagerie, that kind of like makes cultists a lot more interesting. So maybe that number is actually kind of true at this point.
This kingdom is confusing me. Like, the Silo Steward line is really good at getting thin fast, but it seems pretty bad at hitting price points, right?
I mean, only in the first couple times. Steward can make coins too.
Those are the turns.
Like, first shuffle you trash 2 estates, and then you shuffle your deck. It sounds really good to me.
Oh.
Like, the alternative I would imagine would just be going for cultist sooner, and then getting a little bit thin with like one cemetery buy, and then.
What are you opening to get to cultist sooner? Like Steward Silver?
Sure. Silver. Something boring.
No, Silo Steward seems really, really good to me. I guess Haunted Mirror is a little bit. Maybe you could. I don't think I really want to open Catapult. You can also just like turtle your ruins and get them out of your deck.
One at a time.
One at a time, yeah.
Till you
Definitely.
get some villages.
But you know, it makes that first cultist hurt a little less.
Yeah.
Back when you're still reasonably likely to have a random spare terminal play. And maybe it's like, oh, one turn hireling effect. It's not nothing.
The lack of
Is there
game
any world?
is a serious limitation here.
Is there any world where you can skip cultists here? And like buy sheepdogs and like swashbucklers?
Yeah, probably. I mean, Sheepdog's an interesting counter. If we're skipping cultist, I would imagine we're leaning pretty heavily on catapult.
I was imagining, okay, so the skip cultist idea would be you do something really silly, like you open, I guess maybe you want high sheepdog density, but like I was thinking like sheepdog silver, and then you add swashies quick, and you also get the chest, because the cultist keeps putting stuff in your discard.
Is that green fast enough to not be worried about them uncovering Ruined Market? Might.
Right, but also they might get into a point where like they don't want to play their cultist because, like, imagine if it's the second cultist in your chain, and if you uncover Ruined Market, you're just gonna like
I'm
stop
thinking
it.
about having just one cultist just to look for it.
Yeah, that makes having a lot of sheepdogs quite a lot worse too.
Yeah, sheepdog and cultist do this thing where they both want to be the dense action in your deck. So it's hard to chain either one of them if you're playing with the other one.
That is interesting. The sheepdog does feel like a decent counter to cultist, although if you're turtling the sheepdogs every turn anyway, maybe you have fewer in your deck.
Also, the issue with the sheepdog thing versus the cultist thing is like, after the ruins run, your sheepdogs are just like moats, and the cultists still do the cultist chain thing.
Well, the sheepdogs are still a lot better than moats, because you can activate them when you buy a card, and then turtle them.
But how are you drawing them in the first place to turtle if you don't
With the
have...
sheepdogs you activated last turn.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can activate them off treasure chest.
Is that better than any different? I feel like that's essentially the same unless you've drawn your deck.
Well, if you haven't drawn your deck, it lets you draw money before your buy phase starts.
Oh, that's true, you could draw money.
Yeah, this board really wants like a market or a market square or something on it.
Yeah, one potential limitation for the sheepdog plan, I think, is just the inability to get a bunch of them real fast.
Yeah.
Like, you're hitting 5s and 6s pretty soon. Buying sheepdogs is coming at the expense of buying your swashbucklers or stables or whatever.
I played a game once where I decided it was the thing to do to fish for Ruin Market in from like a death card pile. I went through the entire pile of ruins and there was no Ruin Market in it.
Oh, been there.
Tragic. So tragic. Like, I literally took 5 death cards fishing for it.
I remember playing the opposite side of a kingdom like that, where I played money. I didn't want to fish for the Ruin Market, and then they did, and they found it as the bottom 2 of the pile, and I was like, shit, and then I lost.
Oh, well, there it is. We're gonna see a
buy?
market buy.
Market?
I would probably just buy Cultist and start playing dumb Cultist deck, but I don't know how to play with Cultist.
You play
Looking
cultist
at
money.
Tiger's deck, it doesn't feel set up to take Ruin Market right now.
Yeah, and the Cultist chain is pretty strong because you can turtle the extra ones and like.
Yeah,
If your deck is filled with ruins, you're gonna have a very hard time using Ruin Market.
Yeah, you don't know how to play cultist, just turn off your brain and play terminal draw money, except it's not terminal draw exactly.
There's so many things on this board that make you want to do something more than just click on Cultist. I guess you also click on Wave the Turtle.
So as yurikamome, I'd be thinking about trying to build a bit here, because I'm anticipating getting a Ruin Market next turn.
DZ, not only is this game rated, but these two players are essentially at the same rating right now. 62.82 versus 62.83. So, I don't know if either of them's going to gain much rating off this.
I mean, you get a pretty good amount of rating for beating someone the same rating as you.
The Cider was the one who asked, and now I'm seeing why. Because they were lower rated than yurikamome at the time, and now they've been scalping them for points these last 2 games.
Ghost is pretty funny in these decks filled with ruins. Or I guess only Yurikamome's deck is filled with ruins.
If you keep turtling a card that Ghost plays, does Ghost stay out?
No.
Wow, wait. That's a pretty big deal. I think you probably want to do that, like, every turn.
Or why would you want to do that every turn?
So that you can play Ghost every turn, right? And then you turtle 2 things, and then next turn you play that? You're
No,
double
no.
Vagrant,
That just means it fails to stay out an extra turn. So, like, Ghost stays out the normal amount of time Ghost would, whether you turtle it or not.
Right. Wait, so
What
what's
it could allow you to do is, like, if you had ghosted a duration, you could play the duration card once and then turtle it once to avoid the Ghost staying out an additional turn.
If you Ghost like a Vagrant and you turtle it twice, the Ghost disappears from play, goes to your discard, but then do you play the Vagrant twice at the start of the next turn?
You can't turtle the Vagrant twice.
Okay. Right, because it fails to play it.
Well, I guess you could technically play it as a way of the turtle twice, but it wouldn't do anything, because
Right.
you would have only set it aside once.
Okay, that makes sense.
But, like, if you like ghosted a remake, you could turtle it twice for the purposes of avoiding playing it.
Ooh, a second Ruin Market. 3 buys.
The quality of Yurikamome's deck, however, is not exceptionally high at the moment.
And that is
Yeah.
Cultist doing cultist stuff.
I guess you buy gold here and then you buy green cards. You do one more cultist first. I feel like you kind of want to turtle cultist so that you can start playing your steward, turtling a cultist every turn.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I guess here there's still some incentive to get more ruins into their deck sooner, but starting next turn, I would strongly want to turtle a cultist.
You gotta make sure to get that one extra cultist so you can put that one ruin into the deck.
Yeah. I'm not even sure Ghost helps Cider's deck. They don't have a good way to get action cards into the discard.
They have a really good way to take ruins off the top of their deck, I guess.
Yeah, they've got Vagrant, so, can actually draw ruins.
Ghosting Ruin Library? Could be worse.
Oh, I was talking about Cider. Like, were Cider to have the opportunity to take a Ghost off of their Haunted Mirror, I don't even think they would want to.
Oh. Yeah, probably not.
I mean, if they keep drawing their deck, like, the Ghost isn't doing anything.
Or the last one. They're thinking about it. Do the right thing.
Turtle, and then you take one more cultist, I think. And then I feel like you should be consistent through a lot of these provinces.
The other option would be a Cemetery.
You could cash for a mirror here.
Well, the thing is once you have a turtle cultist, you can start trashing the steward again.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, okay, I'm down with Cultist then. They didn't. Oh, they did do it. Good for them.
I spent a bunch of time at the beginning of this being like, oh, this actually looks like kind of an interesting cultist kingdom. And the deck that's winning is like 5 cultists, 1 steward, 1 gold.
I think this is the problem Cultist has, is like it often has potentially interesting stuff going on, but then you start doing it, and it pushes you towards continuing to do it and away from doing anything else.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's very centralizing in a very uninteresting way. Whereas, like,
You know,
Governor...
maybe like both... Sorry.
I was just saying, like, Governor is also, like, absurdly powerful stupid card, but it's at least centralizing in an interesting way when it's centralizing.
Tragic Hero that gained a ghost would be an interesting card.
That's an awesome card. Ah, they trashed one of their ruined markets. Now there's no chance.
I wonder though if like if both players had gone cultist and the cultist split had been kind of a bit more even, maybe we would see some more interesting builds come in. I feel like you can't just welcome all 10 ruins to your deck. It's just not gonna work out.
Yeah.
So me referring to the final cultist for Cider? Because if so, then yeah. I think it's important that Cider turtles a cultist every single turn.
Yep.
Don't unturtle the ruin village. I guess it lets you get another ruin village into ruin necropolis. Good terminal duration necropolis.
Easy is lying. I've played Dominion against DC.
Tragic Hero being a ghost gainer would be pretty interesting.
I would love that. I mean, I already really like Tragic Hero, but wow, that would be so fun. Gain Ghosts.
Right, and then also you would, because like Ghost Tragic Hero is already kind of a combo. Like you really want to set up to Ghost your Tragic Hero, so it would make for some funny game states. We're just like printing ghosts.
Sounds like a good reason to have 12 Ghosts. Yeah, again, another game there's not too much to say. Do a bunch of cultist things and looks pretty winning.
One player has 3 ruined markets. What chance do you have? Oh no, sorry, 2, because one's in the trash.
Actually, knowing all the things isn't important. It's easy enough to come up with your own facts, and then you say them anyway. That's how you do Dominion trivia. For example, did you know that the artist for Swashbuckler couldn't find a woman to model, and so used a mushroom from the backyard? You'll notice the fungal qualities if you look closely at the art.
Alright, so we're up 3-0 right now.
Well, that Cultist
Already
Kingdom
grabbed
turned
that.
out like how I imagine every Cultist Kingdom plays out in my mind. And so far, I have not been proven wrong. So
You gotta pour 2 out for Crab Cat. You could pour 1 pint of cider. This kingdom looks awful.
there's this funny hunting grounds animal pair synergy.
Yeah. It's also Hunting Grounds Forged to trash a ton of Hunting Grounds at once. Clean out all the duchies.
I think this board would be pretty cool if it had Shepherd on it.
If it had...
If it had Shepherd, and you'd have some like geeky estate brick.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this would be pretty interesting if you like switched out Harvest for Shepherd, and then Golem for Wharf, and then Enclave for Wandering Minstrel.
So they both have Shepherd on dislike. And Worf
Yeah,
is
they
on
really
one
are
of their
Shepherd.
dislikes.
They banned Black Market.
But
Who did
Cultist is on dislike only. Governor banned. Some interesting choices here.
Messenger, fascinating.
You laid him best.
That's your plot.
Well, there's sort of a funny thing that might happen on this board, where, like, probably gonna end up going in on castles a bit, and probably have some animal fairs. And if castles end up piling, all of a sudden you get these animal fairs that have +5 on them.
The funny thing about
Alternatively, you
Conclave...
could pile coppers with Banquet to activate your animal fairs.
Okay. So
And then you could pile silvers and then golds for all the palace points.
I forget
Yeah,
who
exactly.
pointed this out to me, but even if Conclave was an unconditional village, it still kind of sucks. Like, just do...
Yeah, it's like Festival without the buy. Except that it's much worse than that.
Pretty much.
I'm confused by this opening. If there were 5s that I valued, I could get behind the Conclave Improve idea. But are we taking Harvest? Is that the plan?
Well, we're gonna improve animal fairs.
It's probably stupid, but part of me really wants to play with Gollum. I guess the whole lack of, like...
What is your Gollum gonna play?
No, it's a terrible plan, because you have no +5 all game.
The Gollum gets improves and animal fairs into play. That's why.
I mean, yeah, get a bunch of improves, get a bunch of animal fairs in play. It actually seems like sort of the deck to shoot for. Kind of like this Conclave improve hunting grounds idea.
Do you want to get a Forge here?
Yeah, Forge looks like a great card. You can also improve it into Province.
Oh, Forge is kind of like, it's like Count.
If you can get it early, it's
If
better.
Count costs 7 on this board, I think I would buy it there. It's like, I don't know. Having a 7 cost improve into a Province is pretty nice.
Turn 4, I totally support buying Forge. That is remarkably early.
Mm-hmm.
And avoids the main downside of Forge of having trouble lining up with your junk. Yeah, these draws from yurikamome have been absolutely phenomenal. You could really ask for better.
I do wonder a little bit about a more money-ish thing that buys more silvers and golds. Because, I mean, in these types of boards, like, plus points matter quite a bit.
Yeah, like, I was imagining something like that where we don't even try to thin, just because the effort of Forge might not be worth it. I mean, if I hit 7 on turn 4, I'm buying Forge in a heartbeat. But, like, if I don't hit 7 until, like, the 4th shuffle or something, all of a sudden skipping Forge entirely looks super reasonable. Golem Harvest is actually a pretty good combo. Your Harvest can discard the Golem, so you never have to see it.
If Gollum was a 5-coin card here, it would be sweet. I would get a bunch of them. And if it was 6 coins, I would probably buy a lot of Golems here.
Still not sure how much I believe that.
I mean, it would still be a lot worse than something like Village, but it would...
Oh, we got a potion.
Oh no.
Surprised that Cider did that.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to root for the Golem thing, but I can't say I have that much faith.
Don't worry, I will counteract that by rooting against it. What other abilities did Haunted Castle try? So I know this. Before Haunted Castle top deck 2 cards, you used to roll a die, and if it landed on 1, your opponent just had to resign immediately.
I think they're both gonna kind of try to build. Oof. And this is why Golem sucks. Because you buy potion, and then you're like, wait, 4 potion is really expensive, and my deck is not getting me.
This is just the shuffle gods punishing Cider for the hubris of attempting to gain Golem.
Yeah, Cider's up 3-0 right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
So yeah, you're just resign, call it a day.
Yeah.
3-1, good enough.
And they would be done before the E-Honda match even starts.
This match is gonna, like, whole match is probably gonna be less than an hour.
Yep.
It's looking plausible. Yeah, this does look super over. One player has a thin deck, the other player has a potion.
The other player has a potion and just drew 3 potion and bought, they bought improve.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of the Conclave improve stuff here. Pretty sweet.
What are you doing with it?
You're like, I mean, look at Yurikamome's deck. These hunting grounds are gonna get improved to animal fairs, gain points. Animal fairs get improved into provinces. Forge gets improved into province. Forge Mills province. The province file could go away very quickly.
Also, if I happened to hit 7, which is rather unlikely early on, like if I opened Silver and hit 7, and then you open Forge and get real thin real fast, all of a sudden pivoting back towards the Conclave thing seems more reasonable.
What if you open Conclave improve and you hit 7 on turn 3 and buy Forge? That's what I want. Oh, sorry, turn 4.
With that particular set of draws, it has worked out well. But,
Yeah,
I feel like in the majority of the cases we're not attempting to get thin. Sorry, DC, I'm sad to say your answer was incorrect. Seems you're unaware of how Haunted Castle used to work. The initial idea for Haunted Castle was actually just to make it literally haunted, like Jumanji style, but they were having trouble with the cost effectiveness of individually possessing every box of Dominion. And so it just ended up being cost prohibitive. But Down Alex's personal set still has an actually haunted castle.
What if you are improving your hunting grounds into animal fairs and getting changelings? Or hunting grounds to improve into more animal fairs. Improve into provinces.
Maximum spinning. I guess the real play is you could like play your $7 castle and improve it into the $8 castle.
Words need some rescuing from the trash. Just put lurker here. Province is reasonable there, but I kind of wanted more building. Yurikamome.
This
I feel
feels
like
like
you're
a
good
very
setup for it.
reverse player order. I strongly associate cider with greening early and not attempting to build. But they're the ones with the golem.
Yeah. The Golem was, like, when I was considering Golem, it was because I kind of wanted to build this sort of deck that Yurikamome has. But honestly, Golem is just not a good card for this deck, either.
I mean, it's just not a good card.
Yeah. But, I mean, your other village is Conclave, which is also not quite, top-tier village material.
They're taking a while. You would actually not meet the 1 hour deadline.
How many turns with this deck state do you think Yurikamome could empty the provinces in? I feel like you could do it. Okay, I guess not with draws like this.
Are you assuming the opponent taking the provinces, or?
I'm just thinking of. Oh, I guess they don't even have any animal fairs either. But you can improve a hunting grounds into an animal fair and then get a changeling. Like, if you build for one more turn, you can start taking like multiple provinces kind of consistently.
You could forge the hunting grounds into a hunting grounds or something.
Yeah,
Right
I
here.
guess. Yeah, and then kill the coppers too, probably. Another 3 potion hand. Oh no. Resign.
Forge that potion into,
Wow. Oh wow, and there's 2 forges on Cider's deck too. How did that happen?
Changeling. I'm not really sure what Cider's deck is supposed to do. Maybe the Changeling gains
Against golems.
Golem. The Golem's like not a card that you can mass, because I don't do Suicide in high quantities.
Yeah, but I mean, you certainly want more than one, and you've hit 3 potion twice now, so. I mean, the changeling also probably means you're pretty likely to hit 3 potion again, but. No, I mean, I guess their deck really should not be hitting 3 potion anymore at this point. It was a pretty unfortunate draw.
so are we improving this forge?
I think you still want the forge because you want to mill provinces. Like, you don't want to improve the forge until there are a lot less provinces. I mean, I would say, like, I mean, I guess it's also probably fine. Cider's deck doesn't even really look favored in the long run, even though they built more. And these hunting grounds just never line up with Conclave.
Well, I still have a vagrant.
Well, here's your glorious 4 potion hand. Rated by Golem, I guess. Bottom card is Changeling, right? Wait, they can take... three provinces here? No, because only one improve.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually threaten to take so many points in one turn here. With all the 7 costs and the hunting grounds. And... that was very risky. I guess you can see that forge sitting right there in the discard, though.
How is pretty easy. They forge a province and...
Yeah, they win like this. They can even take 2 provinces.
Yeah.
It seems like quite the comeback to me.
Yeah, I think Yurikamome's deck had like 3 shuffles in a row where both the hunting grounds collided with no conclaves.
Yeah.
So their deck was kind of set up to do the same thing that Cider did. I do think they underbuilt by like about a turn though. Because their deck was like right about to be at the point where it could start doing this like conclave hunting grounds improve shenanigans.
That is totally fair.
I do think, though, they had, like, 3 pretty unfortunate shuffles. Or maybe Gollum is OP, and I was right for wanting Gollum the whole time.
Alright, well,
Wow, that's a 4-0.
that is a quick match. Only 55 minutes in the recording so far. So, yeah, that's probably the quickest 4-game set I've seen in a while. Thanks for commentating, boys, and I'll talk to you later.
Alright, see ya.